What if you passed your background check instantly, paid for your firearm, and were told, sorry, pal, come back in 3 days? Well, that's exactly what's happening in Florida right now, and the NRA, the National Rifle Association, has filed a massive lawsuit to put an end to it. And this case could strike down Florida's so-called cooling off waiting period and have national implications for the Second Amendment. Let's break it down. First, Patriots, if you love America and you love your coffee strong, you've got to check out Blackout Coffee. This isn't your average store-bought brew. It's premium, small batch roasted coffee made here in the United States of America, proudly by people who love freedom as much as you do. Every bag is roasted fresh so that you're not getting coffee that's been sitting on shelves for months. You're getting bold, rich flavor delivered straight to your door. And when you support Blackout Coffee, you're supporting a company that proudly backs the Constitution, our Second Amendment, and hardworking Americans. So start your mornings the right way, with coffee that tastes as good as freedom feels. Head on over to blackoutcoffee.com/GNG, and right now, if you use code LABOR DAY25, you'll get 25% off store-wide, site-wide. Won't last long, so head on over to Blackout Coffee and wake up like a patriot. All right, excuse me here. I'm fighting through a sinus infection that I picked up in D.C. and trying to do the best I can while Advil cold and sinus is working. So Florida. Florida is often considered a pro-gun state. I mean, you've heard the nickname the Gunshine State. But since 2018, after the Parkland tragedy, Florida law has required a mandatory 3-day waiting period for all firearm purchases. This goes beyond what the state constitution required back in 1998, which only covered handguns. Now, the NRA, backed by several Florida gun owners and a local gun shop, has taken the state to federal court, arguing this waiting period is flat out violative of the Second Amendment. Now, there are two main laws that are under attack. Number one is the Florida Constitution, Article 1, Section 8 Bravo, which was adopted in 1998, and this created a 3-day waiting period for handguns. Concealed carry permit holders were exempt, as were handgun trade-ins. Number two, Florida Statute 790.0655 was passed in 2018 in the wake of Parkland, and this expanded the waiting period to all firearms, handguns, rifles, and shotguns. And it forces buyers to wait 3 days even if their background check comes back clean instantly. Now, together, these are what the NRA calls the cooling off waiting period provisions. Now, the lawsuit isn't just theory, it's built on real Floridians who were denied their firearms despite clearing background checks. Mitchell Dunn bought a Colt Gold Cup 1911 in Jacksonville. His background check cleared, money was paid, but he was told he couldn't take the gun home for 3 days. Josiah Burnham tried to buy a Mossberg 88 shotgun in Newbury. Same story, clean background, cash on the counter, denied possession. And Jeremy Hessen purchased a Ruger GP 100 revolver in Castleberry, passed his background check, still forced to wait. Each of these three men was told the only reason they couldn't take their lawfully purchased firearm home was because of Florida's waiting period law. Also joining the case are the Second Amendment Armory. It's a gun shop in Brandon, Florida, who argues that the law hurts their business by discouraging purchases and puts employees at risk of prosecution if they make a mistake in applying the waiting period. And the NRA itself, representing its Florida members who face the same unconstitutional burden. Now, they're suing some of the most powerful officials in Florida. Mike Glass, who's the commissioner of Florida's Department of Law Enforcement, James Uthmeyer, who's Florida's Attorney General, and several state attorneys who prosecute waiting period violations in their circuits. Now, John Comerford, the executive director of the NRAILA, said, quote, "For nearly 35 years, law-abiding Floridians have had to endure unconstitutional laws that arbitrarily deny them access to legally purchased firearms. Thanks to NRA's landmark Supreme Court victory in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin," yes, that was an NRA case, "illogical, nonsensical, and unconstitutional gun control laws like this are being thrown out in federal courts across the country. We are confident that our challenge today will be successful and serve as another critical step in rehabilitating Second Amendment rights in the Sunshine State." Now, the suit is filed in federal court for the Middle District of Florida, and the case hangs on the Second Amendment standards set by the Supreme Court in Bruin in 2022. The plaintiffs argue four things here. Number one, the Second Amendment protects possession. You can't keep arms if the state blocks you from taking them home after a legal purchase. Number two, waiting periods have no historical basis. At the founding, there were 0 laws requiring citizens to wait days after buying a firearm. The very first waiting period wasn't enacted until 1923 in California, and even then it was only 1 day and meant to allow time for background checks, which today are nearly instant. Number 3, Florida's law is arbitrary. The fact that concealed carry permit holders, hunters, or police officers are exempt proves the waiting period isn't about public safety at all. It's about creating barriers for ordinary citizens. And number 4, there are no exceptions for emergencies. A battered spouse under threat, for example, still has to wait 3 days even if a judge issued a protective order that morning. Now, the plaintiffs are asking the court for 3 things. A declaratory judgment striking down Florida's waiting period laws as unconstitutional. A permanent injunction blocking enforcement by the Attorney General, Florida's Department of Law Enforcement, and local prosecutors. And number 3, damages and attorney's fees under 42 U.S.C. 1983, claiming that clearly established Supreme Court precedent, namely Heller, McDonald, and Bruin, already forbids these restrictions. If the NRA wins, Florida's 3-day waiting period for firearms could be struck down statewide. County-level ordinances that extend waiting periods like Hillsborough County's 5-day law would also be wiped out. And it would set a major precedent nationwide against waiting periods, especially those not tied to background checks. Now, this case builds directly on the logic of Bruin, that if there's no founding-era tradition of law, it cannot stand. Since waiting periods are a 20th century invention, Florida's going to have a hard time defending them. This lawsuit highlights the very heart of the Second Amendment debate. Do law-abiding citizens have a cooling-off period before they can exercise a constitutional right? I mean, imagine if Florida told you to wait 3 days before publishing a newspaper article or before going to church. The courts would laugh it out of the room. The NRA and its plaintiffs are betting that under Bruin, Florida's laws will face the same fate. What do you all think? Are waiting periods just common sense safety measures or unconstitutional roadblocks to exercising our rights? Drop your thoughts in the comment field. Can't wait to see them. And if you want to stay on top of every Second Amendment lawsuit and legislative battle across the country, hit the subscribe button right now. It's free, won't cost you a dime, and share this video. This fight isn't just about Florida. It's about the future of our rights. And I don't know about you, but it's time a lot of this BS starts to fall. I'll see you all in the next one. Until we see each other again, stay free, America. Take care.